name is Melissa Shea, and I'm with FashionMingle.net. Today we're interviewing fashion entrepreneur Anna, CEO of Luevo, a crowdfunding website that allows you to discover new designers and support them by pre-ordering pieces from their line. Luevo just launched their first designer, Bree Seeley, with a fashion show in Los Angeles, and now her collection's on Luevo.com. So Anna, thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you came up with the idea for Luevo.
Sure. So I started working in the fashion industry when I was around 15 years old. I started off as a model. I worked with many designers. I worked in Milan. I worked here in Toronto. I worked in Montreal. So then when I moved to Canada, I started working with smaller designers that were local to the markets here. So that's where I really got introduced and immersed in the back-end, not-so-glamorous parts of the industry, I guess, and really fell in love with the designers themselves, because they're very passionate people, very creative individuals, and you know, they go through quite some struggles to launch their collections and fulfill their dreams. Now, the idea of Luevo really, so I really wanted to be in the industry. I went back to school. I did my MBA. So during my formal years of study, my MBA, I noticed crowdfunding really taking off with Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So I was really watching these platforms, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if we had something similar for the fashion industry and something that really caters to the needs of the designers? So talking to a lot of designers, understanding their needs, and they were considering Kickstarter for their collections, we really came up with this unique solution, which is Luevo, and it's crowdfunding at a different level. It's really crowdfunding, product-based crowdfunding. So instead of having designers set up different rewards like you know, thank you cards or notes or totes or T-shirts or whatever, it's really they're using their product to promote their collections, to get the funding that they need for production. So you as a consumer, you back them up by pre-purchasing a product from their line. It's as simple as that. So that's sort of the history and where we are today now.
Okay, and that's what I love about what you guys are doing, because you're really focusing on, you know, just this niche of the fashion industry. And you're right, the struggles are so intense for designers to get a line off the ground. So I'm really excited about what you guys are doing. What is your long-term vision for Luevo, and what do you hope to see it accomplish for the fashion industry?
So what we really want to establish is this platform where designers get validated by the market. So we have emerging designers, and we're working with somewhat established designers in their markets, designers that may have you know, gone through fashion weeks, that won awards, and so on and so forth. So these are established designers in their markets. But we want to establish this platform where these designers come on Luevo, they put their products, and they really validate through actual purchases, so not just a voting system and liking system like in a social, just purely social environment, but with actual purchases, the market validates the validity of their products, right? So what we envision is for us to become that platform where we launch designers, where major retailers can look to us then for, let's say, what is going to be the next big thing? What is the next design that we need to have? What are the next trends, really? What are the kind of information that we can provide to them and say, listen, the next trends will be this, because all these designers sold this kind of product on our platform. And eventually what we see us becoming is really this platform that brings together both the buyers, so like we're talking to major retailers, and the supplier side together to really build into that supply chain for the fashion industry. So that's our major goal in mind, is you know, it's 4 to 5 years from now, but right now we're starting with emerging designers, and we'll see what that takes us.
That's really exciting. I love it. So tell us how you select a designer, and what's the criteria for a designer to be on Luevo.com?
So that's a great question, because we always get this question, right, from designers that apply to be. So first they apply to because they send us an email and they ask us. And that's a great question, because people think that we're the ones to say who will be the next thing or who's allowed on Luevo, and that's what Luevo is there for, is for the customers, the consumers, to decide who is going to be the next big thing. What we look for are business models. So we want to make sure that our designers are capable of fulfilling those orders that the customers make, because they're pre-orders. Those products are not yet produced. So what we look for is some sort of validation, like let's say, have you gone a couple of shows yet, or you have a website, and we see your designs, and maybe we order a sample. We get them on a Skype interview, let's say, with them, and we want to have that human interaction. So that's why we also talk to them, because we're building relationships with them. They're not just our customer; they're our partners. So we have those kind of interviews, and then we finally establish the designers that have relationships with manufacturers, or they produce themselves, and they employ people. We just want to make sure that their business model are complete enough to be able to fulfill those orders that will come in through us. So.
Okay, so that's the number one thing. Number one, they need to have a business model, and you guys will have an interview with them to develop the relationship. They need to have manufacturing in place. Yeah. And so what type of order, like what type of volume do they need to be prepared to produce?
So typically what we've noticed is they come in and they request minimum orders around, the average is around 7 units per product, and that will be the minimum average orders that they require. Maximum, they also cap themselves, right? So to make sure that they're able to fulfill within a certain time frame that's allowable, they would set up a cap, so that's the maximum number of units they will produce for that item. And it's usually around 25, let's say, so you have a 7 as a minimum and a 25, 30 to a maximum. So they're small production runs, they're very manageable, especially because the designers that we work with, they do source locally, and they employ locally, and they use local manufacturing facilities, so they're able to work with the smaller production runs.
That's awesome. So do you guys help if you come across a designer you really want to support, and they need help figuring out the manufacturing part of it, do you guys help them source that, or do they need to have that in place before they even talk to you?
So right now we don't. That's why we look for designers that have those relationships in place. But as you asked before, in our long-term vision is that we will bring in those kind of suppliers and manufacturers that will be pre-approved through our system, and then our designers can have access to. But that's really a long-term plan, and we may also partner with other platforms that they may have access to those manufacturing facilities, or going directly to them. But we still want to work with our designers and get that validation through the market need first, and then bring in the supplier side as well to the business.
Okay, that sounds excellent. I love anything that really encourages using local production and local manufacturing. That's really exciting to see you providing a platform that encourages that. Yeah. You don't have to invest in a huge amount of manufacturing overseas, and which of course means that so many designers just would never get off the ground. Right. So let's talk about your first designer, Bree Seeley. Tell me about how you first discovered Bree and the process that you went through with her to get her selected as the first designer for your launch.
Right, so I think Bree actually discovered us. Bree came to us, she was referred to us by one of the designers that we were already talking to. And she told us, listen, I have this great opportunity. I'm showing at Phoenix Fashion Week, actually, and that was on October 3rd. And then on October 10th, I'm also organizing an event in LA. During the same time, LA Fashion Week and Style Fashion were taking place. But her event was independently run by herself. And so I have this great opportunity. I'm investing all this money and time in marketing and having these shows. But I don't have a way of getting my orders. And that's when we really knew that, we are needed in the market, because we have, I think there in the world, every day there's a fashion show happening somewhere, and there's a designer that has spent money, but they can't capitalize on it. And we said, okay, although we were very early and we're still in the early stages of development from a technical perspective, our platform, we said we're going to push development. We're going to try our best to meet your deadline, because we want to support you. This is such a great opportunity for you and for us. And that's how we came together. So we're still about, I think we were about like a month early from fully launch when we launched with Bree. And what we're doing with her, so we're keeping just Bree on the side, is that we're also testing our hands on deck from my team. So we make sure that every transaction goes through and everything goes right. And so we're taking it one step at a time. And we're also learning as her campaign progresses. Now, we look forward to having, we have a lot of designers that have applied. We definitely have about 25 designers that we already talked to, and they're set up in our private beta. So parallel to Bree, we're also developing a private beta where customers can log in by password, so they can request an invite, and they can have a look at all of the other designers that we have on board. And we're going to switch everybody over, we estimate, at the most in 2 months from now. So we're hoping to hit somewhere between Christmas shopping and the next Fashion Week in spring. So somewhere there where we're going to launch with a whole cohort of designers after we fixed everything and we make sure the platform is perfect for launch.
Yeah, I know that pain of making
sure. Yeah, and I mean, for us, it was such an extraordinary, like I said, an extraordinary opportunity, and we just, we kind of rushed to have everything done, and I'm lucky we have a great team and everybody worked around the clock, really, but we made it happen. So now we're just looking for our full launch.
Right, you have to jump in sometime. And unfortunately, It seems like everybody's testing live nowadays. I mean, even Facebook. So.
Oh, yes.
So you guys went out to Los Angeles with Bree.
Yes.
So did you guys do that just because it was your first designer, or do you think that's going to be a part of the business model and supporting your designers?
So with Bree, I went there because, yes, it was our first time, so I just wanted to make sure that if people had questions and I'm there and I can answer it, but Bree really took care of everything. So she organized the event herself. She also had an amazing team supporting her, so the event was very well organized. Everything went smoothly. People were handed out enough materials to understand how it works, like pamphlets and other things, and Bree made that introduction. So, everyone seemed to understand what we're doing. We were expecting that, but because we're such a new concept, we wanted to make sure everything is okay. So that was one of the reasons why I was there, also to support Bree and thank her for that opportunity. What we do plan in the future is to, because this is very time-consuming to actually participate in Fashion Weeks. Obviously, you have to be there for a couple of days and travel. So what we're thinking is to take about, let's say, next year, 5 to 10 designers that do participate in Fashion Week, the regional ones, so maybe not as much as New York Fashion Week, but Phoenix Fashion Week in Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, so these kind of regional events. And maybe even in Canada and UK, and take these designers and again help them on our platform and perhaps, yes, participating at their events if there is a need for us to. I mean, it's always great. I mean, that's the glamorous part of our show business, right? It's being part at the fashion event, but I think it's great because it's also, what I said is that human interaction. So you get to meet your designer and you get to meet new designers and you get to be face-to-face to customers and you get to see the entire collection firsthand. So there are all these advantages that, yeah, we should be there when we launch these designers with fashion events.
Okay, so now that Bree Seeley's collection is on Luevo.com, yeah. When someone goes to your website to look at her collection, what should they expect to see and how does the process work?
So right now we just have Bree. In the future you'll see many different products from jewelry, accessories to apparel. Now you'll see Bree Seeley's entire collection. These are items that were presented, like I said, during Fashion Week in Phoenix and in Los Angeles. These are items that are on limited edition, so you'll see that the production runs are very small, as well as this may be your only chance to actually purchase one of her collections, because that's what typically happens with designers, right? They go through Fashion Week, they spend $10,000 or whatever it is in hopes that a buyer will pick them up, right? I'm sure Bree will get her collection in stores because it's a very elegant and ready to wear and very wearable collection. So I'm sure she'll get picked up. However, it won't be available everywhere, right? So it may be available in one store in Los Angeles, but if you're in Philadelphia or Washington, you may never get the chance to actually purchase this item. More so, if you do have them in a store, the collection will only be available maybe around May next year, right? So with us, what happens is, because you're pre-ordering, not only are you getting the item a lot earlier, so you'll be the first one to get it. You may just be the only chance that you get it. You also may get it at a better price because obviously going to brick and mortar retail may be a different price when it gets there. So there are always advantages to come to Luevo and purchase these items. So the way it works is quite simple. For the consumer, we made it as easy as any other e-commerce platform. So you just come in, you see the product, you like it on Facebook, you share it, you make your comments. So you can be very social on that platform as well, and you place a pre-order. So I guess the difference is from an traditional e-commerce platform is that with a pre-order, you don't get charged. So your credit card only gets charged if that product actually went to production. So when it reaches that minimum number, that threshold that it has on the production. And that's really it. That's the only difference. And you always be receiving emails. So you as a customer, you'll always be in the know if that product, if you were charged, you weren't charged, when you're getting charged, when your item is being shipped. So all of that, it's integrated in the system. So you know you're safe. Your credit card is safe. It's through PayPal or Stripe, and you know if you're getting charged or not for that item.
So you can go to luevo.com and you can say, yes, I'm willing to order this, this particular piece, and then, but you're not, even though your credit card's verified, you're not charged at that moment.
Correct.
At some point, you guys are going to let the people who ordered know that the quantity was reached,
right?
And then at that point, their credit card will be charged.
That's right. It's a similar. So that back end, this entire process is very similar to what Kickstarter and Indiegogo does, right? So when you reach that goal, and for a designer, is a certain number of pre-orders. That's the goal for that product. So
okay.
Yeah.
So having all these designers on here means that you guys have a big job to promote Luevo and the designers.
Right.
And since, what this show is about is about the journey of a fashion entrepreneur, tell us about, how you plan to grow Luevo, and what kind of, what's the promotional rollout for a designer?
Right. So we believe that instead of just promoting Luevo, if we promote our designers, actually is a lot better spend of our marketing dollars. So what we do is we, first off, when we've done this with our designers that are in private beta, we do reviews. So we hire bloggers, and they do product reviews, they do design reviews. We also connect them with bloggers in their own market, so they may get some extra exposure from that. And again, one of the things, for example, we didn't talk about is one of the requirements for our designers is really high quality photography, right? So our designers have to come on board with high quality photography as well as product images. And the reason we ask that is because we do have connections with the fashion magazines, publications. So we did have one of these opportunities. We had a great writer, and they did a style guide. So unfortunately, for these kind of editorials, we can only use product images. So we connect them with our designers. We ask them, okay, so what would you like to write about? This is a list of our designers. Who would you like to contact? And we will make that connection. So that would be typically part of for all of our designers. Now, when we launched Free, we have a mailing list. So everyone on our mailing list gets an email, a reminder every week about the collection, an update about the collection, and again we do a lot of blogging and social media. And like I said, it's all about the designers. So all the designers will get this on our platform.
Well, I love that you actually mentioned that you're paying bloggers because, of course,
yeah.
That's every blogger's dream is to actually make money from their blog. So tell me what kind of designers, what kind of bloggers you're looking for. And are these bloggers that you've already got an established relationship with, or are you actively looking for new bloggers to help you promote the designers?
So right now we actually work with more so like freelance writers. So they're actual writers, they were journalists. So we approached them, and they were very willing and happy to help us with reviews for our designers. Now, we did have a couple of bloggers that worked for us, and they were from, I think they were both from the States, actually. But again, they approached us. I think we met at some networking events during Fashion Week. So we will start actively seeking a lot more bloggers, and what we'll try to do is actually connect them locally with their designer, because it would be nice to get those interviews, those personal interviews. So that's our goal. And also what we'll do, because we do order samples from our designers, is also pay them with products. So we'll have a blogger profile, let's say, and say, what is your style, what are your measurements, and then we'll try and match them with some of the samples that we receive, and they can do that kind of review based on products. Bloggers also love products, so it works out at the end.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, that's part of our strategy, and I think it's good because they're getting that exposure, and it's double exposure, right? The designer gets exposure, but also us. So.
Okay, that sounds great. So if a designer is interested, you say you've got about 25 designers that you've been working with, getting them set up. So like what's the time frame when a designer applies on your website? I assume they go to luevo.com, there's an application, they fill out the application, and then how long does the process take before they know if they're approved to be on the site?
It's usually a couple of weeks, so it's just a matter of us getting back to them, setting up a Skype interview, and then see if there's any further steps that we need to take, such as ordering a sample or not. But typically, it's just a couple of weeks. We hope to, as we grow, to reduce that time, so more staff that we have, the faster we can process applications. But yeah, it's just a couple of weeks. And really what we encourage them to do is just to contact us first. So we have a contact form on our website. Contact us, and we're very good. We usually get back to them within 24 hours.
Okay, so you're thinking in a couple of months you'll be ready to launch all of the designers that you have been working with so far?
Yeah, actually, our hope is to launch with 50 designers. So we will start seeking. We're seeing applications daily, but actually starting to process and approving them on our system, getting them set up, as well as seeking out designers that we see at events, fashion events, or fashion shows, and approaching them if we think it could be a good solution or a good platform for them. So we're actually looking at increasing the first cohort to 50.
Okay, and do you have any like price points you're trying to meet with the kind of designers that you're bringing on, or I mean, can it be really high end? What do you think is going to work best?
So, I mean, we don't, like I said, it is not my place to say. Some of the designers will come to us and they ask me about pricing. They ask me about, oh, what kind of designs do you think they will sell? And it's not our place to say that. It's the marketplace that will decide that for them. Okay. However, we find that most of our designers, I mean, out of 25, most of them are within a certain bracket, and they average out around $300 per item. We do advise, I mean, and not even necessarily, more of a friendly advice. We see designers that, they build high quality products, but they're very shy. Maybe they're their first time out there, and the product's a bit priced on the shy side. Or, we on a friendly advice, we would say, this item could be better priced. Make sure you cover all your costs. And actually, that's a conversation that I have with them. Is that you have to make sure you cover for all your costs. You're covering for the payment, the PayPal costs, which are 3%. We have a policy that we encourage free shipping, so you have to cover for that cost as well. You have to calculate it into your product cost and all of that, and all of those extra costs as well. If they're on the other end and they're too pricey, actually, through because we're using PayPal as a payment gateway, we can only accept payments that are up to $2,000. So that will be actually a threshold because of PayPal. That's what they're asking.
Okay, so 2,000 max.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Well, it sounds like a really exciting concept. I mean, clearly you've identified a niche that desperately needs to be filled by designers. So I'm really excited about what you guys are doing, and looking forward to seeing how you grow. So, because when did you first start Luevo? Because I'd really like to get, as we're ending this interview, I'd like to talk with you just about the process of being an entrepreneur in the fashion industry, and how long did it take you from, like, when you first had this idea, what was the process of getting it off the ground? Because I believe you guys also got investors. Am I correct?
Not at the moment. So we're actually looking for investment. We're raising right now.
Okay.
That was one of the other reasons I was in California. So we are raising our first seed fund right now, but we are bootstrapped. So that means all of our co-founders are heavily involved in the business, financially, emotionally, and otherwise. Yes. So, I mean, to be honest, I think it took too long for me to, I was the one that came up, conceptualized the idea, right? So I think during my MBA, so I was 2011, 2012, when I was playing with the idea and I was trying different things and I was doing all my research as part of my MBA, and then I wrote my business plan. That was August 2012 when I graduated and I wrote my business plan. I just stayed because it just took me too long, because I was part of, I was doing school, so part of the academia and an institution is that, you take your time and you do research. But as an entrepreneur, my advice now and what I've learned is that if you think you have a great idea, just go for it and don't wait, because if you wait 6 to 9 months, if it's a great idea, somebody else is going to have it too. It's not just you. Great ideas are everybody has them, right? So, but I mean, I think we were lucky enough. We are in an industry that is slowly adapting to technology. We are seeing a lot of different platforms that target the same challenges for designers, but come in from different angles. So I think that encouraged me to continue and really come to market when I did. So the business was formed in May, end of May, early June, and that's when I brought in my co-founders and we built a team and we really started developing the product. So we're rather new, I think. Like, we've been really developing for the last 5 months.
Well, that sounds really fast to me, Anna.
Yeah, well, I just think from when I first had that idea, you're sitting there in the shower and that took too long. I think from when I had the idea to actually build that team and get really hands-on and start developing and building the product. All I'm saying is, if you have that idea, just ask a couple of friends, go to meetups too, because friends can just say, yeah, it's a great idea, or family, just
right.
But go to a meetup event where you meet entrepreneurs and bounce that idea with them, and then that's it. You're good to go. Then just go for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you being on the show and your time. This sounds really fun, and like I said, I'm really excited to see where you're going with it.
Thank you. Yes, we are excited too.